Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason, and I am here at New Dimensions Crystals and Reiki in downtown Brenham, Texas. NewDimensionsCrystals.com. If you want to check out my shop, see a little bit more about me, come by and visit. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, share it with your friends if you think the information is beneficial. Let's jump right into the report and start with the sun. It is, for those of you not paying attention to the calendar, it is October the 4th. 2023, and the sun has been quiet for several days, so you might be feeling a little bit off your game. Usually when the sun's at high activity, even though it might be agitating, we still sort of feel full of energy. So when it's at low activity, then we sort of feel low energy, or sometimes we could feel withdrawal from that extra solar energy. So it's been calm. There hasn't been any CMEs in the last day or two. So there's no coronal mass ejections headed towards the planet that will impact us and really do anything like that. There's no coronal holes. There are a couple sunspots that seem like they might be becoming active moving over the next couple days. So check out NASA or whoever else you might want to watch for your solar weather and monitor that during the week. But nothing really big is happening with the sun. So that's a short part of the report. Thanks, sun. But we still do have in the cosmos a lot of planetary retrogrades. And so let's just say we're starting here Wednesday, and we'll start into what's in retrograde. We have still six retrogrades as I count and look at my notes. And first one we get to is Pluto, which is ending the soonest. It'll be here till the end of the week. So 10/10, 10/11. So next Tuesday. So the span of the report. But what Pluto really does is it's about our dark side, our hidden power, things that we don't really look at. Sometimes people look at that as negative, but it's really just sort of dark, more of a hidden in the shadows, more of hiding from the light of day than it is negative, underworld, devilish kind of stuff or nefarious kind of things that we're like, oh, we have, evil thoughts or evil intentions kinds of things. It's more of stuff that maybe we've been in past lives. Maybe in past lives it was sort of frowned upon. Maybe the group think of the time wasn't ready to see that kind of information, and maybe even group think of your early childhood wasn't ready for you to have all of those dreaming skills, all of those seeing other realms skills. And so you sort of hid some of those away. So that's really what sort of Pluto sort of governs, and it's in retrograde. So you're dealing, you're functioning through, you're refining all that kind of stuff. And really it's sort of removing the ability to sort of be gaslit, right? And so the things that would trigger either a reaction or a use of those powers, or trigger bouts of shame, or even just anger about being judged for those hidden parts of yourself, start to remove some of those. And that's really the main thing that sort of takes the power away from that. What we're learning in this retrograde of Pluto is that the acceptance of the self, right? Like, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks. I'm me, right? That acceptance, that forgiveness of that, whatever sort of made you think that was bad in the first place, the letting go of that really sort of makes you bulletproof. If you don't give a damn about what's going on out here, because you're going to be yourself no matter what, that becomes a little bit of power, right? And so you're not going to be able to be controlled by outside energies, outside forces, because you don't care what they think. So that's a good energy of Pluto in retrograde, right? And so that might not feel like you're working through that quite well, or right here at the end, it might feel like you're being triggered, um, gaslit. And so you've got about a week left of that, right? It's right at the end. It's kind of like when somebody's losing in the battle, they throw everything last at it, right? So all of your all of the worlds, all of the cosmoses, all of the negative side is throwing its last little bit of, but maybe you do suck, at you right here in this last little week. But once we sort of hit 10/10, 10/11, October 10th, October 11th, a lot of that sort of like, hey, I've sort of built this in, you've sort of solidified it, right? It's something that's a new structure in the self. So that's good. That's happening this week. Good times. Saturn is in retrograde still. Saturn is really about authentic occupation, right? Authenticity being stronger than love, right? So follow who you really are, and make sure that that is not just what sort of like lights you up and makes you happy, but something that sort of undergirds the entire self, right? Because authenticity is stronger than love. I think that's all the thing. Saturn, right? Yeah. And then we're also in Neptune. Saturn is in retrograde till November the 4th. Neptune's in retrograde till December the 6th. And that's just really what's the point of the spiritual path? You know, what is your inner guidance? What is your highest self? What is your soul really trying to create out of this entire life, right? And so Neptune really sort of shines a light on that as a planet way out there, right? It's really so sort of we're being led from someplace really higher or outside the self, right? Which is where the soul comes from and sort of interacts in the heart and the mind and in the chakra system, or sort of anchors itself in the body. And so that's what's going on with Neptune. That is, I said Neptune, right? Till the 6th. And then we got Chiron. Chiron is going to be with us till December 26th, 27th. And that's just the release of old patterns, right? Usually childhood stuff, right? And so this is more about habitual stuff, things that your inner life might have built in an outer sort of function, where you sort of realize that these structures were built on a disbelief or part of the stuff that we're releasing through Pluto and the retrograde and stuff like that. That's here till the 26th, I said, of December. And then we've got Uranus. Uranus is going to be here till January 27th, 2024. So it's going to be with us the longest out of these current 6. And so Uranus is really about being independent, right? Um, who am I? What do I contribute to the group, to the hive mind, right? Or how, as an individual, do I uniquely take all the BS that's happening on the planet, whether that be the emergency broadcasting system stuff that's happening today? I'm turning my phone off. I'm not turning my phone off. I'm staying away from technology. I'm paying it no mind. All of that kind of energy of what am I doing as an individual? How am I filtering and giving back to the whole that energy which exists, right? Am I worried about the economy? Am I worried about war? Am I worried about the impending doom of an exploding sun? You know, what are you contributing as a filter back to the whole, right? And so as you sort of see me do this report, right, I'm filtering through myself of what the whole, I believe, is sort of saying in a nutshell, or the energy that we can sort of work with as a group of individuals, how that sort of works. And so that's kind of the method I'm talking about, what's sort of going on with Uranus. Um, and so, yeah, take that for what you will. And then also, Jupiter is in retrograde still, and that is going to be till December the 31st. And so, today, really the energy of the day, not just the retrogrades that are going on, is we're in eclipse season, right? So we're in a couple of weeks before the eclipse. And so eclipse season is really about the sun and the moon coming into alignment, so that they can be, sun, the moon, and earth coming into alignment so that we can have the eclipses, right? So the lunar eclipse is when, the earth is in front of the sun and sort of eclipses the moon. And then the solar eclipse is when the moon is in between the earth and the sun. And so coming up first is going to be the solar eclipse, and then the lunar eclipse later in the month. And let's see, things that can be happening during this time is really sort of crazy dreams. And by crazy dreams, I really sort of mean psychedelic almost, right? So high technicolor in its vividity. Oh, that was a big word. I didn't even know I was going to use that word. In its vividness. So might be experiencing more colors than an HD television that you sort of think of. But also it's going to be like strange stuff, right? Not only is it going to be like super rich colors of normal things, but it's going to be like far out kind of stuff. So really what happens during eclipses, and why you would start to have those kinds of things, is we sort of have a worldview that the world is like this and the possibilities are like this, and science and metaphysics and spirituality works like this. When we start to have these eclipse seasons and we have these weird psychedelic dreams, it's like, but the universe really is probably more this, and this is just comfortable. So you have these expansive dreams. So when the eclipse season is over, there's a bigger possibility, or a more potentiated world where better things, more things can happen. And since it's happening as a group mind, right, it's happening in the field that you get to individually filter through, right? So your dreams might mean something for you, but not something to somebody else. Pay attention to all that stuff that's starting to ramp up today, Wednesday, as we move we're in the pre-shadow, right? So 2 weeks previous, then the 2 weeks in between the eclipses, and then the 2 weeks after. Whew, that's a lot of stuff happening. I feel like I'm talking fast, but I'm going to keep talking fast because I'm going to get through this report. Leads us into tomorrow, Thursday, 10-5. Saturn and the cosmic pentagon, right? And so if you look at the daily chart or even your own chart, you can sort of see that there's 5 little points on there that look like a 5-pointed star or a pentagon shape. You can go look and see that maybe they're affecting different houses of your zodiac chart. So pay attention to that, right? And so that's really going to increase these effects, right, of the eclipses. So we have planetary alignments and Saturn itself, right? And what did we say Saturn was again? I'll go back so I got my notes so I don't say something wrong about Saturn. Building recognition, uh, experiencing divine patience, implying consistency, mystical timing, right? Things are things are in alignment and in control. There is a career, a plot, a plan, a service that you are giving to yourself and to the world and the planet, and there's a reason you're here, kind of stuff. So pay attention to that energy for Thursday. That might be the, I won't say be the peak of the dream world stuff, but it might be. Friday, nothing really much is happening. Saturday, 10-7, October the 7th, the Draconids meteor shower is peaking. And then that is also the post shadow of Venus in retrograde. So it's gone direct, and now we're out of the shadow. So the last little effects of Venus and relationship stuff that it sort of brought up and capacity stuff of divine femininity that it sort of brought up should be sort of like making sense or solidifying into a pattern that moves forward with you. Tuesday is the next big day. So yeah, Sunday and Monday, not much cosmic is changing, right? So you'll still have all of the retrogrades and things and whatnot happening. And then we go into Tuesday, 10-10. It's the 10-10 gateway. Really just sort of the numerological alignment, right? And this is not a physics understanding that 10-10 or October the 10th is a special alignment, but numerologically and as a society, of a human society, the 10th day of the 10th month is the same thing as the 9th day of the 9th month and the 8th day of the 8th month, right? And so the 10-10 gateway is really opening up, right, to sort of enhance the energy of the eclipse season. And so 10 is the number of completion, 10 is the number of choice, right? So it sort of marks an ending or a choice point, right? Where all of the study is done and the action takes place. So pay attention to Tuesday. And then that's when Pluto goes direct, right? And so we did all the Pluto stuff, right? What's happening with Pluto, right? Removing all the triggers and stuff like that. So really 10-10 into the eclipse times is what's going to be really important for that day, Tuesday. So mark that on your calendars. And then just sort of a highlight or a refocus of the eclipse season, right? I told you about it's 2 weeks prior, 2 weeks of, and then 2 weeks after. First one is the solar eclipse 1014. Second one is a lunar eclipse 1028. And then so the 2 weeks in between that is the gateway of the eclipses, which sort of coincides with the 10-10 gateway. And then the 2 weeks leading up to the 14th, which we're currently in, is the pre, then after. Really the things that happen in eclipses is sort of like transformation and how I sort of like to think of it, or how I was thinking about it when I was writing notes for the show, was that it's really like up until this time with all this BS or all this stuff or all this intensity, all this energy, all this flow that's been happening, it's like we've been playing a guitar, but we haven't had any of the chords pressed down. We haven't been on any in particular fret, right? And so when we sort of have this sort of focus, when we sort of have this eclipse season, it's almost like we pick a chord or a series of chords where we decide what note we're going to take, what sound we're going to give, what harmony we're going to create with our own voice into this cacophony of sounds and energies. And so, yeah, that should be pretty cool. Maybe. And so, just sort of a highlight or a heads up or a interesting thing, right? These things come around in around 18-ish year cycles, right? And so you can sort of trace back 18 years, right? And so the last time the eclipses happened was 18-ish years ago in 2005, and then 1987, and then 1969, right? And so those kinds of energies, the easiest one to probably remember, unless you're super old and have a great memory, would be 2005, right? And so 2005, I can remember that I had already been ordained and I was at my first church, which is just across into the next county here where I work. And so that was almost towards the end of my first complete year, or just after my first complete year. And that's when I started to explore another expansion, right? A clarifying moment for myself, right? And so I went from just having a master's degree, and I went and I was applying or in the application process of my doctoral degree. And it was sort of a focusing in of how do you lead congregations, not how do you manage congregations, right? So most of the time in religious education, especially professional ministry, they teach you to be a manager of a system. And I was going into doctoral work to like, how do I lead that system into new places, right? And so that's just sort of an idea of sort of how these shifts can sort of take place. They don't have to be monumental. They don't even have to be full pivots. Like, how the heck did I get here from being a professional pastor, ordained and loved by congregation members, not necessarily the leadership of the churches, but that's fine. Right. And so, like, those are the kinds of changes that sort of happen. They happen in increments, right? And so then it took me 18 years to get to here, right? And so somewhere in the middle of that 18 years, there was other cycles that sort of hit, and I did this. So those are the kinds of energies that can sort of shift. 1987, I don't remember 1987 that much. I know I was alive. I know I have an old printed out picture, because you used to have to print pictures out of me in a shirt that says 1987 on it. Like, it was cool. It was purple and had red 1987 on it. And so, yeah, it's definitely a marker in my mind that that was the thing. We were still living in Seguin, Texas at that time. And then 1969, also wasn't alive then, but my parents had been married about a year, I think then. I think they got married in 68. So, monumental times in my DNA history, right? My gene history. So you just sort of pay attention to that. 18-year cycles. Do with that what you will. And then just highlights for the rest of October, since we're in October already and we give a little month preview. Not much else is happening. 10/13 is the last Friday the 13th of 2023. Pretty cool that it's sort of happening right around the eclipses and during the eclipse window, and that's also around Halloween, because Friday the 13th, Halloween. And then on the 21st, the Orionids or Orinids, Orion IDS, meteor shower peaks. So meteor is just a reminder, is really even more enhanced dreams, portals to exterior worlds, dimensions, ideas, right? And so some people might have encounters with heavenly beings. Some people might, who are into that sort of neural network, might feel like encounters or visitations or discerning moments around space characters or space aliens and races around that. Some people might see parallel universe kind of stuff, like, oh, if I would have made this decision and took that job or married this person, right? They might have experiences of what that life would be, and sort of lessons from that that come during these meteor showers. So I think that's everything that's happening. That's a lot. I thought it was going to be a nothing week, but I talked about a lot of things. I'm here at New Dimensions Crystals and Reiki in downtown Brenham, Texas. NewDimensionsCrystals.com. If any of this stuff is overwhelming, or you just need a crystal or some incense, come by the shop here in downtown Brenham and get some of that. Go on the website, book a session if you sort of need an alignment. And right, and by alignment, you probably would do, if you're online going, what does he mean alignment? It's not a choice. Probably the cleanse that's going to do the align and the balance of your energy system on the inside. If you sort of feel like there's something else going on, we can do some of the other sessions. Of course, the easiest thing, if you want to check out Jason Korthauer on TikTok, I think it's Jason W. Korthauer on TikTok. The main thing to start with is breath, because it's the thing that's keeping you alive the most. So when you start to manage your breath, you can manage your consciousness and your reality. You can do a one-on-one session of breath work. Sign up for that at newdimensionscrystals.com. And until next time, thanks everybody for watching. Many blessings.